What's up, everybody, and welcome to the iReach podcast. I'm your host, Paul Robinson, founder and CEO of ConstructReach, a national consultancy and initiative that aims to diversify the construction, design, and innovation industries and empower a younger generation. Every single week, we are here merging education, industry, and culture with a variety of featured guests that you do not want to miss. So let's go, iReach. All right. Well, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Robinson back to you once again for another episode of the iReach podcast. And today we have got a very special guest, this time on the educator side. I've got Miss Debra, Lary. Debra, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for having me today.
Yes. I'm super excited that you were able to join us today. Just with all of the work that you're doing down there in the state of Georgia, right? We're going to get into everything that's going on, what you do, how you got to your position. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay. I am originally from the beautiful state of South Carolina. I attended college here in Georgia, and I've been in Georgia for ever since. I attended Spelman College, and my undergrad degree was computer science. At that time, I thought I was going to change the world being a computer scientist, but I made a career shift about 10 years after I worked in the field of computer science, and I went back to college. I went to the University of West Georgia to get an additional degree, and that brought me to teaching. So I started teaching business education, which was really very closely aligned to what I was doing in the business sector. I did that for 10 years, and I was lucky to be offered the job of work-based learning coordinator. I do youth apprenticeship, where we have students who work with businesses and industries in career fields that they're actually related to and interested in going into. And then I do work-based learning for those students who may work at Mickey D's or Kroger or those types of businesses. So I work at the Newton College and Career Academy here in Covington, and I love my job, and I love being able to help young people get matched up with businesses.
Oh man, that is awesome. Thank you for sharing. I mean, just your background, how you've arrived to this position, and working with your students down in Newton County, introducing them to different career pathways, because that's actually how we got introduced, right? With
Yes.
providing an opportunity for your students to learn about the industry of construction. And it's an industry that, generally speaking, it doesn't get a lot of visibility. And for us, we had an amazing time being able to partner with you guys to introduce your students. Actually, it was the kickoff to what's become a flagship national, if you will, community engagement event that's called I Built This. And so that was just a beautiful time. Talk to me a little bit about, because I know this is definitely something that is important to you, being able to introduce students to something that they had not known about prior to that introduction and that exposure. Tell me, like, what does that do for children?
It was so enlightening, that event, and I know it was a pre-COVID event, and I was sorry we weren't able to keep it going. Hopefully we can bring it back. But the pivotal moment for me was seeing light bulbs go off for the students. You can talk all day long. You can have speakers come in, talk about construction and what it's all about and the different career aspects of construction. But until they actually go out on site and see and touch and feel and hear and know that this is something that they can do and that they can make a really, really, really good living at, I really think it was more of an immersive type field trip. I don't know if there's such a word or not, but it really helped, and I felt like it paid off because, like I said, we have industry speakers come in all the time, but actually having them come out to the site and watch people actually do. When you say construction, not just teenagers, but a lot of people think hammer and nail. That's all they think about.
Yes,
When
yes.
we went on the I Built This tour, it really opened students' eyes. Even though I've been telling them the whole time, the teachers have been telling them the whole time, there's construction engineering, there's construction electrical, there's construction this, but by them actually being able to see it and feel it and touch it, it was just incredible.
Yeah, and I'm glad you got a chance to just share the not only the feedback from and the perspective of an educator, but also from the young people as well, because what we try to do is make it an immersive experience, and it fits right in line to what it's all about, work-based learning, right? You get a chance to
Yes.
be hands-on,
Mhm.
to really learn about what this industry has to offer, connect certain skills, right, that you have to different career pathways. And now a light bulb has gone off as to what you can do that actually aligns with what you may naturally have a gifting for. And so it's always important for us on the Construct Reach side to not only just talk about the opportunities that exist, but to bring them into some sort of experience that allows them to have a hands-on opportunity to understand what it entails.
I was in an educator meeting recently, and one of the things that they said was you have to get the students to realize that it's something that they can do. If they think that they cannot
Yeah,
do it, they're totally tuned out and they will never try. And that was what the I Built This experience was for the students. They actually could see that that's something that they could do. And I think it made
yeah,
a big difference.
yeah, and that's good because we've got two objectives really that we try to accomplish with those type of events. And again, you guys were the pilot school, right, in school district
Right.
that we got a chance to do this with. But what it really did was affirm the intentionality and the heart behind how we go about doing something that's a little bit different to introduce opportunities. And the two major objectives that we wanted to have was to allow young people to become a new model of success, but to also empower them. And regardless of whatever external narrative that may be taking place about what they can or what they cannot do, was to meet them where they are, affirm them, and then allow for some sort of experience to show them that, guess what, you have what it takes to be successful. You have what it takes to maximize and reach your potential. And then not only does that happen with them internally, but now that sort of reaffirms your words, right? So they're hearing it from somebody else, because educators are always talking about, hey, you can do this, you can do that, you've got so much potential or what have you. But then sometimes, sometimes it takes somebody else, right, to say exactly what you've been saying all along, and now they get it. So just to be able to have that sort of experience, now it gives you all the validity in your words to say, hey, I told you, right? And then that just continues to go forth when you guys get back to the classroom. And so, I mean, it's super, like exciting to know what type of impact these events are having. And then just to hear your feedback regarding that. And so, I mean, that's core, central, and foundational for us, is to make sure that we are affirming young people where they are, that we are merging the relationship between industry and education, and then maintaining those relationships, right? We did that event a couple of years ago together, but the relationship has maintained.
I also wanted to throw in that the students were able to see the connections. And that's very, very pivotal and crucial right now, because manufacturing and construction is huge in Newton County right now. We have several massive sites being built, and they are looking for thousands of construction workers.
Wow.
So the I Built That field trip allowed the students to see that when you look at a construction site, again, it's not just hammer and nail. You have electrical, you have HVAC. The students were able to look at them installing refrigerator units, installing tile, installing shelves. They were able to make those connections. And that was eye-opening for me as well, because, you think, well, you know what, we're going to build this building and we're going to go home. It's much, much more than that. And that is very good. Sometimes I do go back and show the video that you guys did that day
Oh,
to
wow. That's
show
cool.
people, right? Because they're going to have to be equipped here in Georgia to be able to take on those jobs that are out at the mega site and the mega plants that are being built here.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. I mean, that's the thing. When you
Yes.
think about the ton of opportunities that exist within this industry, it's like we have to make that known. We have to raise their level of awareness to let them know about these opportunities and to give them that insight. Because without having a full understanding of what you can or what you cannot do within this industry, now you don't get a chance to present that as an educator standpoint in a very primitive way. And so that's actually something that we're beginning to see, though, holistically in terms of education now, because, and I know you guys, introducing and having within your framework different career pathways that you're introducing your young students to. But generally speaking, from an education standpoint, and you probably can affirm to this, we've had the next step after high school,
Yes.
right, being going to a 4-year college, right, and getting that degree. And it's not that anything is wrong with that, but every other opportunity or every other option outside of that was presented as an alternative route. And a lot of times that's where construction has come. That's how construction has been introduced. And it almost has gained this stigma that this is an industry that you fail into, right? And so this is what we're trying to come against, talking about, the different career pathways and the different opportunities that could be successful moves for a young person, a budding young adult transitioning from adolescence to young adulthood. And so if we could create the culture that celebrates, let's say, a certification just as it does a degree, then now we are empowering them to make a next step, to be excited about that next step, and then having those adults, right, who are already in those positions and are already working to be able to celebrate this amazing juncture and this amazing decision, as a young adult transitioning into a career, right? And so, no, it's good to have that feedback. It's good to kind of talk through this, especially from an educator's perspective and through an educator's lens. And as it relates to what's available, how do we celebrate and how do we affirm decisions that young people are making post high school?
Right. And I also commend you for sharing constantly and consistently jobs and internships. I always direct our students
Yes,
to
yes,
your
yes.
Twitter feed. And that was one of the main pushes because it wasn't get back on the bus after I built this tour. Once we got back to school, you guys came in and you said, okay, how was it? Now what? Let me tell you about was it Folcom and all these other places that you can go and get jobs and internships. And that's the key. You're going to get the light bulb turned on, but you want to keep the momentum going. And the other thing I wanted to mention too,
Absolutely.
that was highly successful, was the females being able to see females working on that job site. We're actually having a women in construction event next week as part of I think Women Appreciation Month or something. And I think it's very crucial and critical. Again, if females can see that they can do it, they will do it, and they'll try to do it, and they'll do it well.
Absolutely.
If they don't think they can do it, they won't.
Yeah, yeah. And that is something that we try to be very intentional about with introducing this industry of construction, design, innovation, manufacturing, or what have you to younger people, is to allow them to see themselves in this industry. Because if you can't see yourself, right, then you can't see yourself in this industry. And so having that exposure is important, but also being able to identify with those who are already there is important as well. And so when we do these events, one of the things that we try to be very intentional about is making sure that we're highlighting those who are in the industry that are not too far removed from the young people that are participating as students in the event, so that they can see themselves in these roles, so they can see themselves right in this industry and having a successful career. And so that's been an amazing opportunity, that we've been able to do, that we've been able to implement, and then getting that feedback. And especially for young women as well, right? Like having young girls, having young ladies be able to see themselves represented within this industry that has been so male dominated, right? it begins to introduce the possibilities. It begins to formulate a different narrative, and that is exactly what we're going after. And so, I mean, just hearing that feedback is great. So when you think about your role and what you guys get a chance to do with your students, talk to me about like different programs, because I know we've spent a lot of time talking about the I Built This event, and great. I mean, that's good. I'm glad that you're able to share the experience, the takeaways that not only the educators and yourself, but also the students had, and then the follow-up and the ongoing relationship that we've been able to establish. But any other events that you guys are doing, or programs to allow students to understand what their options are before it's time, right, to make that decision?
Okay. Well, like I mentioned earlier, we're having this is the first time we're doing this. We're having women in construction. We're having a big day next week. We partner with CEFCA. Have you heard of CEFCA?
Yes.
It's the construction education, right? We partner with them. So we watch some of their videos, and they brought out a Be Pro, Be Proud bus. Have you guys seen that one, where it's hands-on too? The kids, they get on this van, and it's hands-on-y, and they can drive a truck, they can all hands-on career tech related jobs that the students may not ever think about, and it goes from school to school. I don't know if it's just a Georgia thing, or it may be all across the US. I'm not sure, but that's the other thing. We got a lot of positive feedback from students on that one, because again, once they were able to get on the van and get into that role, touch it, feel it, see it, hey, you know what? I think I can do this. And then it talks a lot about pay scales, high paying jobs. We do lots of career days. We do industry tours. We have partnerships with manufacturers. Manufacturing is our biggest business sector out here in Newton County.
Wow.
So a lot of businesses, we encourage them, and they have taken us up on it. They will give our students projects like, let's say our engineering lab, for example, we have 3D printers. So some of our manufacturers may give them AutoCAD projects to do, like to build a house, or to I don't know, streamline a structure, that kind of thing. So we have a lot of that going on. We just finished up all of our work-based learning students. Because of COVID, we did our mock interviews virtually this year. And we got a lot of positive feedback. You would be amazed and surprised at the number of young people that have never been on an interview, and they have no idea what to do. So it's very crucial and critical here at the Academy that we expose our students to that, and it does make a difference. We do job shadowing with different companies, and we do industry tours. We have Vex Robotics out here. That's another biggie. Robotics is big. Our construction students can get OSHA 10 certification. They've done some, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember, Lean Sigma, Six Sigma. Don't say that. I can't remember the name of it. You know, guys know what I'm talking about though, right? Lean Six Sigma. They've done that. And the other thing that our construction students do is they've partnered with Habitat for Humanity, and they build structures. We do a lot, and we do a lot of partnering across pathways. That's the other thing that's really good to kind of get, again, if you think about construction, it's electrical, it's HVAC, it's this, it's not any one thing, no one animal.
Yeah, that is great. I mean, just to have that much exposure, and you touched on something that's really important on our end as well, that we want to make sure that we communicate, to our listening audience, to other educators as they put this in front of a younger demographic as well, is to take advantage of internship opportunities, right? Like that is important, because now you get a chance to evaluate not only a company, but maybe a career pathway at low risk. And you also get a chance to have a real world experience. And so that's definitely something that we like to amplify. That's definitely something that we like to put in front of our industry partners to let them know the importance of having formalized internship and new hire programs, and then developing that curriculum. So when we come out and we have a podcast, or we have a partnership with an educator such as you all, and then we're introducing industry partners that are providing entry-level positions, we get a chance to assist those companies in developing that curriculum to make sure that they have an experience that matches what we're communicating on the front end. And that helps create an affinity for these students to have for the industry, and not only for the industry, but who they're having an experience with, being those companies. And then they become, in turn, advocates, right? Where they get a chance to share their experience. They get a chance to share the information that was provided by their educator, their counselor, what have you, their work-based learning coordinator, right? And then the amazing experience that they've been able to have with a company that's a continuous segue into their career. And so we like to make sure that we're uniting those stakeholders and really putting forth the effort to amplify formalized internship programs so that we can introduce young talent into different career pathways in a very intentional way.
Well, I wanted to mention two short stories about internships. I talked with a potential employer just today, and I sent a young lady over to interview with him, and she is finished with one of the pathways here at the Career Academy. And he was so impressed with her that we started talking about an internship, a paid internship for her. And he was so impressed by her that not only did he start talking about her pay, but he also started talking about the fact that he wanted her to remain and work for his company when she graduated from college. So, right. So that's how important and powerful an internship can be. I know a lot of students just think, well, you know what, it's something to do for the summer. It can lead to a major career change. And the other thing that I tell my work-based learning students about internships is another reason why it's very important to take advantage of those is I'm going to talk about healthcare for just a minute.
Yeah.
Every year we would do an industry tour at the hospital. And I would have every year, I would have these students, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to be a nurse. When they get to the hospital, the minute they see the sight of blood, at least one of them passes out. And they know from that point on, they can't be a nurse, but that's
not
okay.
What I want to do, right?
But that's okay. And that's the beauty behind internships. It not only exposes you to what you think you want to do, but it also allows you to get an inside view of the things that maybe you don't want to do.
Of what you don't want to do. Yes, yes, yes. Both of those are equally important, right? What you want to pursue and what you don't want to pursue, because it's nothing like being locked in to something that you don't want to do, but you've got all of these obligations that you have to upkeep and maintain, right? Responsibilities. I tell you, boy, adult 101. Oh my gosh.
And college is far too expensive these days to go and waste your time. And that's the other thing I like about the follow-up with our students that you all do. Not only do you talk about internships, but you talk about scholarships and how it can be a paid situation for our students. That's important.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. No, this has been great. Just talking about this, I mean, we could go on and on and on. I mean, this is definitely a passion for the both of us. Let's see, before we close out, any last comments that you have, especially for either other educators that want to begin to be more intentional with introducing their students to different career pathways, things that you guys are doing that you've seen good results from. I mean, you're introducing your students to so many different career pathways, and you have a lot of programs that are built in that allows for that visibility, that exposure. Any lasting comments, kind of recommendations, insights that you want to provide to other educators and or other young people that are wondering like what to take advantage of at school?
At the academy here, the students are encouraged to take at least 2 pathways. And I highly encourage that for any young person. I feel like, again, we'll go back to the student that may want to be a nurse. You really need to have a plan A, B, C, and D. And it's totally okay and totally fine for that. The beauty about the world of construction is it's easy to pivot to different types of things and jobs, and you're still going to make a lot of money regardless of what area you're in. But I highly encourage you investigating multiple pathways if possible. I also would encourage any type of certifications that are available to you. Like I was saying about the OSHA 10, we have certified nursing assistant, we have AutoCAD certification, we have all kinds of certifications here. That's one thing that's just going to give you a feather in your cap that other potential employers do not have. I highly recommend that young people take advantage of that. There are a lot of IT, computer science certifications. I mean, there are tons of them. And I do want to mention this that I'm hearing, Paul, and I think you'll probably be happy to hear this. What I'm hearing from the teachers and trainers here at the Academy is they don't want just someone to come speak to their students. They want them to bring and demonstrate. And I think that's what I
Nice.
built this concept and tour is all about. Students today, young people, again, they need to see, touch, feel, and know that they can do it. And they're not just going to sit and listen to a 45-minute presentation. Um, that's just my opinion, and that's what I'm hearing from the
Yeah.
trainers here in our building.
Yeah, no, but that's good. I mean, that's an opinion, but you're operating from a very informed position in place because you've seen that, you've experienced that, you've heard the feedback, especially from young
Yes.
people, and you've seen what works. And so, Debra, I just truly thank you for joining us today. It's been an amazing time. We're wrapping up though, but thank you. Got to have you back on. You guys are doing such an amazing job down there in Georgia. I'm sure we're going to be back down there again, partner with you all. And so thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate everything that you're doing to get the word out about the world of construction. I appreciate you make my job easier.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap for us today. Again, join us next week and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into our show. Remember, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, and join the movement as we reach to build a better future that we can all be proud of.